There are people right now, maybe you're one of them, who are burning with feelings so intense they can't sleep. They've written letters they'll never send, they've rehearsed conversations in the shower 50 times, and yet they'll take it to their grave. This isn't about shyness. This isn't about being scared. This is something different. This is about people whose love is so deep, so real, that saying it out loud feels impossible. Today we're going to understand why some people love more fiercely than anyone else, but keep it completely silent. And by the end, you might recognize yourself. Here's what most people get wrong about one-sided lovers. They think these people are weak. They think they're afraid of rejection. But the neuroscience tells us something completely different. One-sided lovers have actually developed stronger neural pathways in two specific areas: the insula, which processes deep emotional awareness, and the anterior cingulate cortex, which handles conflict and pain. They feel more, they notice more, they anticipate more consequences, which is exactly why they stay silent. So when they don't tell you, it's not because they don't feel it enough, it's because they feel too much. They've already played out every possible rejection in their mind. They've already grieved the relationship that never happened. They're protecting themselves from something that hasn't even occurred yet. But here's what's fascinating, and most people miss this. One-sided lovers aren't suffering pointlessly. Their brain is doing something most of us will never experience. They're in what psychologists call idealization mode. Their brain has eliminated all the annoying parts of the other person. No flaws, no incompatibilities, just perfection. Is it real? No. Is it painful? Absolutely. But here's the psychological trap. It feels better than reality. So they choose silence over truth, not because they're weak, but because one confession destroys the entire perfect worlds they've built in their mind. The moment they say it, they become real, vulnerable, rejectable. And right now, they're safe in their fantasy. But safety has a price. And that price shows up in ways they don't even realize. If you're a one-sided lover, your life has probably looked something like this. You give, you show up, you remember things no one else remembers, you're always there, and the other person, they probably think you're just a really good friend or a really good person. They have no idea. The psychological term for this is covert intimacy. You're creating closeness while maintaining distance. You're in a relationship that only exists in your head. And here's where it gets dark. Studies show that one-sided lovers experience something called depressive brooding. They replay moments obsessively. They analyze conversations for hidden meaning. They create narratives about why they can't speak up that eventually convince them they shouldn't speak up. After months or years, they don't stay silent because they fear rejection anymore. They stay silent because staying silent has become their identity. So why do people do this to themselves? What's actually happening in their psychology? Most one-sided lovers grew up in one of two environments. Either they had inconsistent emotional availability, a parent who loved them one day and was distant the next, or they learned early that love means taking care of other people's emotions before your own. So now as adults, they developed what attachment theorists call anxious-preoccupied attachment. Their nervous system learned that love is something you pursue, not receive. Something you earn by being more available, more understanding, more patient. They believe on some deep level that if they just love well enough, if they just understand the other person well enough, if they just try hard enough, eventually that person will love them back. It's not logic, it's neurobiology. And the worst part? The more time passes, the more they've invested, the more impossible it becomes to tell them. Because now they're not just afraid of rejection, they're afraid of admitting to themselves that they've wasted years on someone who could never return what they feel. But not everyone who stays silent is trapped. Some are choosing differently, and that's the distinction that matters. There are actually two types of one-sided lovers, and they're psychologically very different. Type 1, the trapped one-sided lover. This person wants to speak but can't. Their anxiety is so high that every time they approach the moment of truth, their nervous system hijacks them. They get physically sick, they freeze.
And over time, this reinforces the belief that they can't tell them, that it's impossible. Neurologically, their amygdala has labeled this as a genuine threat. This person suffers. The chosen one-sided lover. This person could tell them, but they're making an active choice not to. Why? Because they've decided the relationship they have is more valuable than the relationship they might get if they spoke up. They're protecting the good version of the thing over the uncertain version of a better thing. This person is also suffering, but differently. Here's what both types have in common. Neither are actually protecting themselves. They're both sacrificing themselves. One just hasn't realized it yet. So what actually happens when these people finally break their silence? When a one-sided lover finally tells someone, one of three things happens. Option 1, the other person doesn't feel the same way. Everything they built to their mind collapses instantly. The perfect person becomes a regular person. The fantasy ends. And for the first time, they have to grieve someone who never actually was theirs. Option 2, the other person does feel the same way, but it's different in reality than it was in the fantasy. The real person is messier, less perfect, requires compromise, and sometimes the one-sided lover realizes they were in love with an idea, not a person. Option 3, and this is the one no one talks about. They confess, get rejected gently, and suddenly the weight lifts, because now they know. The uncertainty is gone. The wound can finally start to heal, because you can't heal what you won't acknowledge. But the most important thing happens after the confession, regardless of which option it is. They realize something that changes everything. They realize they survived it. Whatever happened, acceptance, rejection, awkwardness, loss, they survived it. And survival in psychology is everything. Because the thing we fear most is never actually the outcome. It's the uncertainty, the not knowing, the imagined versions. One-sided lovers spend years in their nervous system's threat detection mode, constantly scanning for danger, constantly bracing for pain that hasn't happened. And once they finally experience the actual outcome, whatever it is, they realize their imagination was scarier than reality. That's when the real growth starts, because now they know something their attachment wounds never let them know. That they're strong enough to handle the truth, even if the truth hurts. And ironically, that's when they become attractive to others, because people are drawn to people who know their own worth, who don't need their love to survive, who've chosen to live in reality instead of fantasy. So, if you're watching this and you recognize yourself, what now? Here's what I want you to understand. Being a one-sided lover doesn't make you broken. It makes you someone with a huge capacity for love, for loyalty, for seeing people at their best. Those aren't flaws. But hiding those things, that becomes a flaw, because it keeps you small. You have 3 paths forward. 1, you tell them. You risk the fantasy, but you gain your life back. You gain reality. You gain the chance to build something real instead of something imagined. 2, you accept that this is a one-sided situation and you lovingly step back. You redirect that love towards yourself, towards someone who can return it, towards your own growth. You grieve what won't be and make space for what could be. 3, you stay exactly where you are. But if you choose this, do it consciously. Know that you're sacrificing yourself. Know the cost and accept it. Don't pretend you're protecting yourself. Don't pretend it's noble. Just be honest about the trade-off. But whatever you choose, stop letting your brain convince you that your feelings don't matter. They do. You matter. And the person you love, they deserve to know what you actually feel, not the version your fear sanitizes for them. Because love that's never spoken isn't protection. It's a cage. And you have the key.